You got your mama's sunshine, you got your daddy's rain. You're like a piece of heaven in a hurricane. And it's bubbling.
Hey there, Happy New Year. Welcome back. We are back with this week's podcast, and we're going to talk again about health using the word death. It's going to be fun. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to last week's podcast, and you will know exactly what I'm talking about. But then come right back to this point and listen to this one, because we're going to talk about, I believe, exercise today and the importance of moving your body, which I just started doing again. It's like, you think you move, right? You do. I think I walk around, I lift my children, I do, and then you work out and you realize you're not really moving. You think you're moving, but you're really not.
You lift something heavy and realize
because you wake up the next day. So I did like box jumps the other day, right? And I was sore in places I didn't think that box jumps made you sore.
Oh wow, yeah.
Like my core, I was just like,
not to judge you, but how high was the box?
Like 10 feet.
10 feet.
It was, I don't know. I have no, it wasn't even a box. I can't afford a box.
It was a step stool.
I spent all of my money on Barbie dream houses. But no, it was at the park. I just went to the park and found a curb, and it was high. Listen, dude.
It's not a box jump.
It was high enough, okay?
Sure, that you were sore.
High enough that
I saw a guy the other day, and he was doing these box jumps. He took the box and put like 2 foot on top of that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And the dude was standing and jumping up there, and I was amazed.
Yes.
They get wild with those things.
Yeah, they do.
Amazed.
Turns out you have to use your core to jump that high.
At my age, a lot of that amazes you.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
You know what? I listened to the podcast last week, and I was so caffeined up. I talked so much. Well, this is in my wheelhouse anyway, and I get all excited. And I almost took it off. I almost said, man, can you take that off a day later? I just talked too much, but I just have so much to say. We got some questions that came in, and let me just start and butt in any time you want. But somebody wrote me and said, Pastor Ron, is sugar alcohol okay?
But what is it?
Sugar alcohol.
Is sugar alcohol, yeah.
Oh, because of sugar alcohols?
Yeah, and there's 8 types of sugar alcohol and sugar substitutes that are approved by the government for human consumption. Each are a little different. For example, xylitol, it kills dogs. It's toxic to animals.
Wow.
So what does that tell you? These sugar alcohols, I mean, I won't eat them, but I won't eat food with them in it, I should say. But they're known to cause gas, diarrhea, bloating. But long term, they can cause cancer, heart problems, strokes.
And that's the stuff that's in like the new like sweet, like
with no calories, but
no sugar.
There's no
but
sugar.
Like,
no sugar.
Like the keto.
Yeah.
They call them keto.
Sugar alcohol.
desserts.
You look, a lot of them will say no sugar or 1 gram sugar, 0 sugar, but they'll have sugar alcohol.
They're really sweet tasting.
Oh,
right.
Well, some of these, I mean, stevia is what, 300 to 400 times sweeter than sugar. Of course, stevia is not a sugar alcohol, but we're talking about sugar alcohol and substitute sugars. Saccharin is shown to cause bladder cancer in rats. Some of this stuff's really, really, really bad.
Wow.
And a lot of the sugar alcohols even cause weight gain, the very thing you're trying not to do is gain weight.
This is just a comment here. Doesn't it seem like if something is too good to be true that it usually isn't
Usually is.
good?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of this stuff's manufactured.
Yeah.
It's manufactured. It's made.
Yeah.
Now, I still think if you are really, really dead set on not having sugar in your diet, I mean, I still think at this point, I think stevia is probably the best because it comes from a plant. Although there were some people that really banned stevia, but I think they've all come back around now because it is from a plant.
Something I think is important too is realizing that in our diet nowadays, sugar is in everything. So if you plan on taking sugar out of your diet, plan on things tasting differently. Because I saw sourdough bread at the supermarket the other day, had sugar in it. And it just blew my mind. And you can taste the difference. Some almond butter has sugar in it. French fries, some restaurants put sugar in their French fries. Like just plan and expect on your food tasting different, and that's okay.
Well, carbohydrates are going to contain a lot of sugar. Most carbohydrates, most of the refined.
Sure.
And what am I trying to think? Refined, forget that. Most of your processed food and the carbohydrates in the processed food are going to have sugars in them. See, for example, we found a place to eat in Vegas. We just came back from Vegas today. And this place, I won't give the name of it, but it's famous for its proteins, organics, and greens. It's a chain. And basically, I love their food. We went in there for the first time on Saturday. We went back on Sunday. And like I had ahi tuna and brown organic rice.
I'm already hungry.
Vegetables. Debbie got the teriyaki bowl. And so you got organic brown rice, you got some organic vegetables, all that. And it's probably the best you can do when you're out. But then I started thinking, because the rice was really greasy, what kind of oil are they using on the rice? See,
So
there's your downside.
that place you're talking about, and I know what you're talking about, and people are I'm going to give it away right now, but
In Bakersfield.
it's not in Bakersfield, but it was bought by a very large company, and that very large, after it was bought by the large company, their quality went downhill, and because they're in it to make money.
Yeah.
Well, now there's a place called Greens and Proteins. It's not that place.
No.
Right.
It's not that.
But Bakersfield is getting
A Whole Foods.
a Whole Foods.
No, you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's go back to the sugar alcohols for a moment. You know, I really would not put sugar alcohols in my body. I just don't feel good about them. I got a protein bar in Vegas the other day, a plant-based protein bar. And when you look at all the ingredients on the back, I go, really, I don't want to eat that. But I'm really going to push it again. Get your sweet tooth. Get it taken care of by getting your sugars from fruits. Again, and I don't want to be redundant from last week, but in my shake in the morning and at night, I have berries in there, which have a lot of fiber. I have an apple, which has a lot of fiber. I put a half a banana, which doesn't have as much, but then I throw in 18 almonds or walnuts, which have a lot of fiber. So again, I just really, really suggest that you might try this. Try taking a healthy smoothie in the morning with natural fruits and fiber and with plant-based protein in it. Take one at night. And at morning and night, when I have a smoothie with all the fruit in it and the fiber, it just really takes care of my sweet tooth.
Let me ask you about, and I might know the answer already, but what do you think about honey and agave for substitutes for sugar?
It's still sugar.
Really?
You know, now the thing about it is, honey, you'll get more minerals in it.
Yeah.
And you'll get a few more good things in it, but it's still going to pretty much do to your body what table sugar is going to do. But it does have some good things in it, which table sugar has nothing.
Right.
So you do get the good stuff along with the sugar.
So let me ask you this.
Now the
Agave.
is still different, probably.
Okay.
Honey, I'd be careful with.
So let me ask you this. Is it better, right, to consume some of these sugar alcohols and some of these processed, type, not processed, but, manufactured, right? It is processed. Sugar alternatives and be thin, have little fat on you? Or is it better to have a little bit of fat on you and to consume
Well, let's put it this way. If I go in
a small amount of natural sugar?
If I go
Feels
to a
like ethics.
restaurant to get a tea or something, and all they have is these sugar substitutes, saccharin and all this different stuff, I will use table sugar instead. I'll opt out for the table sugar instead of
And I
those.
guess I'm forgetting the third option, which is the most obvious, is just don't worry about eating sweet food.
Well, again,
Stop eating sweet food.
Josh, we were raised in an era, and you guys won't even recognize this, but we're in the older generation. And my wife's family and my family, back in the old days, you had dinner, and then you'd automatically ask, what's for dessert?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had desserts.
Yeah.
Our families had desserts every evening, mealtime.
Yeah.
And so you'd have your dinner, and you'd have either a piece of cake, a piece of pie,
Yeah.
or brownies, but you see it on Andy and Mayberry. All these old shows, after you eat dinner, you have desserts.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's because we got trained with that, but man, I tell you, I battle with a sweet tooth most of the time right after I've eaten. It'll go away sometimes 30 minutes later, but right after I've eaten a meal, I want to almost like follow it up with something sweet.
I feel like it started with family dinner night once a week, Sunday nights is family dinner night, and then we have dessert on family dinner night once a week.
Right.
But then family dinner night became Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? It's like, oh, we're always going to do this because it's so great on Sundays. Might as well do it on Mondays and
Every
Tuesdays
day.
and Wednesdays and Thursdays. And, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you have this habit, right? Maybe. I'm guessing if that's the case.
Josh, I don't know. We're going to talk about habits in a second. We might even get through this health thing. I don't want to stay on it forever. But we had another question. And somebody asked me what foods have high antioxidants. Now, again, and I know I've already covered this in our last health podcast, but we have to understand free radicals to understand antioxidants. And I've used this illustration for years. Free radicals, if you can picture them as being like a campfire inside of your body. Free radicals cause a campfire, and the campfire produces smoke, and that smoke gets into all of your vital organs and starts poisoning them, causes cancer, causes heart disease. So all this smoke inside of you that's come from these free radicals is causing all this sickness and disease. Now, antioxidants are like little Pac-Men. Their main diet is smoke. They love to eat smoke. And so your antioxidants are eating up these free radicals. So what you want to do is get more antioxidants in your body than you have free radicals. What do free radicals come from? Highly processed foods, pesticides, preservatives. Stress produces free radicals. Now, you want to get antioxidants in there like little Pac-Men that eat up the free radicals. And where do antioxidants come from? Veggies, fruits, seeds, nuts, garlic, vitamin C, green tea, pomegranate juice, all this stuff. You can look up a list. And what they do is when you get these antioxidants in your body, they, like little Pac-Men, they eat up the free radicals. And green tea, for example, has a lot of antioxidants in it. My doctor down in LA, one of my doctors told me the other day, he said, Ron, you're not going to believe green tea. They're just now discovering all of the health benefits from green tea. They're not even through with it yet. Green tea helps lower your blood sugar. It helps maybe possibly keeping you from cancer. It helps you lose weight. And so we have to learn just these little simple lessons of what a free radical is and antioxidants. Fill your body up with antioxidants. When I first was diagnosed with leukemia, I took, now people are going to find this hard to believe, about 40 to 60,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. And I took it all throughout the day because vitamin C is water soluble. So once you urinate and stuff, it's gone out of your body in 2 or 3 hours. But I took this in large amounts. And Linus Pauling, you might want to look him up. He was kind of the pioneer on this. So anyway, long story short, I answered that question. What foods with high antioxidants? Again, the Mediterranean diet. Look it up. It's the best out there, I think. So there was another question, but you want to add on this anything before we
Yeah,
ask
I
the
think
third
one of the
question?
things we talked about in the last podcast was too, a lot of the foods that you mentioned, like blueberries and things like that, where you find these antioxidant foods. You're almost doing yourself a disjustice if you don't get organic or you don't wash them well,
Right,
because
wash them well.
you're getting this thing that's poisonous and putting in your body, and then it's kind of for naught. So just make sure that you're getting a good, healthy source of antioxidants.
And we had another guy write us too, and I sent the link to you,
Yeah.
Vince. He started putting some links on your program afterwards, and so we're going to do that right
Yeah,
today.
and if you're on Spotify and Apple, you'll be able to go into the notes and see the links in the show. And if you're on YouTube, you'll see them in the description.
Yeah, and another person wrote and said, do you use pH strips? I used to. I need to get back to them. What do pH strips do? They determine whether your body is alkaline or acidic. You can also do it through a blood test at the doctor's office.
Can I just use the ones from my pool and just stick them in my mouth?
You probably could. But Pastor, why is it important whether or not your body is more alkaline or acidic?
They have said through the years, and I believe it's true, and there's a lot of information on the internet, if your body's acidic, one person went as far as to say that you will get cancer sooner or later.
Wow.
You will. If your body's acidic, you're going to have digestive problems. That's one thing. You're going to be tired. You're going to have dental problems, loss of libido, abdominal issues. That's all from your body being acidic. So you get these strips at the health food store, and you either put saliva on them or urinate on them some way.
There was a doctor. The reason why I ask is because I'd heard a quote one time that's from a doctor from Germany, and he said no disease can exist in an alkaline environment.
There you go. There you go. Well, Tom, and long term, they cause kidney disease, heart problems, cancer, chronic digestive problems. You want to get your body, I believe, don't look this up. I think about like 7.0 or whatever on the strips.
Yeah.
You want to get it balanced. Now, what are the alkaline things? Well, it's fruits, vegetables, nuts. You know what? I have a salty tooth at night, and I used to eat like some pretzels, or I love saltine crackers. Now I go in and get this big bowl of pumpkin seeds, and I sit and watch TV. Instead of eating popcorn, I eat pumpkin seeds.
Ooh.
And so, and they're salted a little bit, and they're organic. You even get fermented seeds today. They're really good for you. So anyway, well, what causes your body to be acidic? Here it is: dairy products, beef and meat, sweetened drinks, eggs, sugars, processed foods, and high animal-based protein foods. Those cause your system to be acidic. I will bet you that the majority of people listening to me today, if you test your body to see whether it's alkaline or acidic, most of you are going to be acidic.
So is it
you're going to have to get it down?
Is it that your body's producing too much acid? Is that what's happening?
Well, yeah,
digest?
when you eat the foods and take in the stuff, and stress too. You can't throw out stress. Your body's going to get too acidic. And again, the one guy, and I choose to believe what he says, if you stay acidic and you live long enough, you'll all get cancer. I believe that. So today, I mean, there's just little things you can do to improve your quality of life and your longevity. And it's easy to do. Get some strips, test them, and see what happens.
One of this documentary I was watching, I think I sent you a link, Pastor. It's called "You Are What You Eat," and I always watch documentaries with a grain of salt because some of it is, they're trying to make a point.
Right.
But one of the things they talked about was your gut biome. You probably know a lot about this, Josh, and just your gut health in general. And they were talking about the foods you mentioned. One of the ones they talked about was eating
fermented.
No, they are talking about eating like meat, like how meat is like one of the things that is basically constantly killing us. And as Americans, we consume, 90% of our diet or 80% of our diet is some kind of animal processed meat, and it's not from a very good source. Most of it's not grass growing or it's not organic. And even if it's organic, one of the things, there's a chicken farmer on there and he's talking, and he's like, some of you guys are like eating chicken because it's healthier for you. And you see that it's free range, and he's like, "Let me show you what free range is." And he kind of shows this little pin, and it's a 4x4 square. And he's like, "There's 20 chickens in there, and they're all free range." And he's like, "And they all have the same."
I think
diseases.
It's 4 feet. You got to have 4 feet for some.
Yeah, it was like some small cage. And so he said, "You can't cheat this. Like you can't cheat this part of your diet where you think you're consuming these high amounts of animal protein and thinking you're going to be okay if you eat a healthier version of it."
Here's the deal. From my perspective, it blows me away to watch people. I was in a restaurant the other day, and of course I get chicken. That I will get that over and above red meat. I eat red meat maybe once every 3 months, but I was in there and I got chicken, and charred meats release carcinogens.
Yeah,
and they're very bad for you. And so, of course, I was in there. My wife said, "What are you doing?" I'm scraping off all the black, scraping it all off my meat before I eat it. I watched some people the other day at a fruit stand just buying these strawberries and putting them down without even washing them. And I think those are not organic. And when I did my health class years ago, I would do a demonstration. I'd bring strawberries out, and I'd take some black flag, and I'd spray it all over the strawberries. I know, okay, now serve them to your kids. Because they absorb that black flag. They absorb it.
Right.
And so we talked about that in our last podcast. But going back, let me say one thing about water, and then we can move on. Josh, isn't it here in Kern County we're known to have TCP in our water?
It's TC.
Isn't it TCP? I thought it was TCP.
You made me look it up.
That sounds right when I've heard you guys talk about it.
It's like another TCP. CP. No, that's Turning Point Community Program.
Okay.
Sorry.
I thought it was TCP.
But what does this do?
We will have a link in the description so we can get it right.
It caught a big cause of cancer.
It's what it is. Yeah, TCP. So what it is it's bad here because it's from pollutants from oil.
Yeah.
And that has seeped into the groundwater and has.
And we're one of the worst places for
yeah.
it in Kern County.
TCP,
in San Joaquin.
TCP 123 is what it's called.
Yeah. And so that's why we, of course, have a water purifier and we have a reverse osmosis under our sink too.
The problem with us is our water is basically like distilled, and we don't have like the minerals
and stuff.
You better take minerals. You see, okay, I'm glad you brought that up. When I had leukemia, I drank distilled water for like 3 or 4 years. And I wonder if that's one of the reasons I have all these back and bone problems today that I've been dealing with. I should have been taking minerals along with it, is what I should have been doing. And so if you want to test your water, here's what you do. It used to be called...
my kids, I keep giving them this water, and I forget I need to...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You need to, if you want to test your water, it used to be called BC Labs. It's called something else here in our community. But every year or so, I go out and test my water. What I do is I go on let's give the link afterwards of the app you can go on, and you put in your zip code, and it'll tell you all the pollutants in your water, all of them. And every community is different. And so what I do is I get all the pollutants. Am I saying that right? Pollutants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sometimes
that's how I would say it.
I'm out of caffeine at night or in the afternoon or this morning. I don't even know if it's morning, evening, or night.
Well, you got up pretty early and drove from Vegas.
You did.
Got up at 4:00 this morning, and I am dogged tired.
That's
and when I'm
why-
tired,
Well, you're doing good.
My brain doesn't work.
And you got pollutants right, so we're good.
My brain just stops functioning. But long story short, see, I even forgot what I was saying.
Pollutants in the water. And then
Go to the labs, and we'll give you a link. You can go on a site, put in your zip code. It'll tell you all the pollutants, and you're going to be shocked. So sit down before you read all the stuff it says is in your water and in your zip code.
Something I've been doing, it's called Celtic sea salt. That's something that I've been putting in my water. I started putting pink Himalayan salt in my water.
That's good.
Just a little
Really
bit. But there are, I can't remember how many different types of magnesium inside Celtic sea salt. And you're supposed to put just a little bit on your tongue. But I like to put it in my water, and it's just something just to offset the water that I'm drinking as well.
Maybe that's why my kids love salt so much, because they're drinking
salt water.
No, they're drinking this like really purified, super purified water.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
They're just like, I need salt.
water.
Yeah, my kids don't drink anything else really. I mean, outside of water, it's something that, I mean, you got to fight for it, but I mean, it's important, especially when like they're exercising, they're running around. They're not jumping 10-foot box jumps, but I mean they are.
We heard they were curb jumps. So let's.
Yeah, that's right. 6-inch, 4-inch curb jumps.
Well, you know what? This is only the second time that I had to break my 72-hour water fast this last week, and I started getting heart palpitations, and I started getting some other things that I have not had to deal with before, but I have. Usually I put some salt in my water. So, I can keep electrolytes
that's good.
in my body.
Yeah.
And I didn't this time. And I had to actually cut my 72-hour fast to 50 hours. And if you do the 72-hour fast, be careful, because you can hurt yourself badly. You have to listen to your body, especially if you're elderly. I always tell people, listen to your body. If it starts doing weird things, you've got to break your fast quick.
That's good.
And so anyway, do we want to start talking about exercise? Or is there anything else you want to add on diet? I mean, it's just common sense, and you can Google a lot of it, but any other things you want to say about diet?
I think we did a good job last week just kind of going over that. But again, if anybody would like to send in some questions, please continue to send those in.
Yes. I just... love it when you send in questions or comments. Make a comment about something we didn't cover, like the pH strips. I didn't think about that. And there's a lot of stuff we didn't cover, but the E in saving yourself from premature death is exercise. And let me start out just practical, exercise, man, it'll do wonderful things for you. It strengthens your bones and your muscles. It even wards off viral illnesses and infections.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say it doesn't matter the size of the curb that you're jumping as long as you are jumping.
Getting that heart rate up.
Yeah. I think that's my t-shirt.
Sure.
It doesn't matter the size of the curb?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's with it.
As long as you're jumping something.
I wasn't being offensive.
Listen.
But
So, move your body, man.
But to that point, exercise can look different for everybody.
Yes, it can.
So like what would be, I mean, there's such a wide variety that's out there. I think sometimes with the new year, people are like, okay, I'm going to get into shape.
Yeah.
So that means I have to get a gym membership. I have to get, workout clothes. I have to get a good water bottle. I have to go and I got to, X, Y, and Z. But it could be simply just starting by walking around your neighborhood.
Park your car way out at Walmart.
Yeah, right. Something simple.
I do like those
push-ups.
motivators though too. It's fun the beginning of the year to watch people, like you said, they get their new water bottle, they get their new gym clothes, and for them it's like they're trying to make themselves commit to something that they haven't committed to. What's been so cool about the podcast. This last week I ran into a bunch of you guys, Monica and Jimmy in the gym. I ran into the Woolsleys, which I haven't seen in years, and thank you for listening to the podcast, guys. They're out at this 5K, and they're like, we've been listening to the health podcast, and we're so excited about it. And I was like, they were like, we're stoked to see you actually doing something. Like I wasn't just talking about health, but they saw me at the gym a couple times. They saw me out running. They saw me doing the thing. And so I was like, that's good. But, it was cool to see like the 5K. We went out, it was the beginning of the year. And there's a lot of people out there, like we want to start the year off and do it right. So I think you're right. I think for some people, starting slow, like to get motivated, it's like walking around the block, You know
what, Vince? Every year in January, the gym is jammed.
It is crazy, yeah.
I can't wait till February because half of them won't be there.
Yeah.
Or you hope that they are.
I hope they
I
are.
hope they are.
I will root for them.
I have a question for those of you guys, like Vince, I'll ask you this. Did we have IT bands when we were kids, or did we grow them as adults? Because I feel like that muscle didn't exist before, and now it hurts.
Yeah.
And I have to roll it.
Oh,
and that's what you like.
I used to be there. Yeah.
Like, it's terrible. I mean, you have to like roll the outside of your legs now. You have to.
You didn't get sore when you were younger. It's kind of weird.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this little Spartan Stadium thing. I'm doing it because I love the Dodgers at the Dodger Stadium. Vince is doing it for the exercise. And I'm excited about it. But one of the things you have to do is you have to do monkey bars, and it's crazy how you think about how many monkey bars you did as a kid and how you're just swinging. I mean, you're just no problem. But as an adult, these guys are just slipping off these things the whole time. They can't hang on. And I'm learning some tips and tricks.
At a kid, you were carrying 90 pounds. Now you're carrying 200 pounds sometimes.
Sure.
And it's a lot harder.
Ish.
But going back to exercise, it's cumulative. That's the good thing. You don't know how many times in a month my wife will say, I've got to go into Walmart and get some things, or Target. Do you want to go in? I say, I'll lap the store 4 times while you're shopping. And when you add it up during the end of the day, you want to come to the conclusion that you've walked a mile or 2 or 3. But there's different kinds of exercise. Some people go to the gym to build muscle. Building muscle might be a little different than trying to stay healthy. Although when you do build muscle, do you know that burns calories? Have you been watching UFC fights? I'm a big UFC fan. Usually the real muscled up guys don't win. It's those slim, long, lean guys. And when you see a real muscled up fighter, they'll tell you about the second or third round, if you wait around, he's going to be exhausted.
It's a lot of weight
He's
to
going
move.
to be, well, and
Takes
then
a lot of oxygen.
For the muscles. Yeah. And so fast walking, I think that's good for a lot of people. We have a lot of runners in the church, and bless their hearts, most of them have to see the chiropractor 4 times a week. If you don't watch, especially if you're running on pavement stuff, your bones weren't made for that. But if you can run, and try to run in a park or on a track, high school somewhere or something, you can run, you can walk. You can get an aerobics class at the gym.
I saw Shimron, and he's at the 5K, and he took off at the start, and I was like, oh, there's no way. and you just see him they're just past people
He's a
so
legit
fast.
runner,
Oh,
yeah.
legit runner. He looked like he had no aches in his body.
Right.
He just went for it.
Well, I think you just have to be smart. If you're going to be a runner, don't run on the cement
and I
for
think
very
it's
long.
better to still exercise than not, you know.
Yes.
And so I think like a lot of people, you could be a runner and have back problems, or you could be a non-run. You could do nothing, right, and have back problems. And I'd rather be the runner with back problems. So it's like,
Well,
you know,
what I do is I go to the gym 5 mornings a week, work out 35 minutes on the dot. I mean, it just always comes out that way.
if you do have joint
And then I
problems
go
too,
aerobics.
and I know you don't like to do this, Dad, but a lot of people do. Swimming is really good.
Swimming's
on your
really good.
joints.
Really good.
The only negative to swimming is you have to make sure you take a lot of extra vitamins
You
because
do.
you do get sick a lot in the
Yeah,
pools.
my wife got in the gym pool the
So
other
just-
day, and she's sick. So
Go swim at Lake Ming.
yeah.
So,
Maybe.
something I've learned when it comes to exercise is you have to find the thing that
You
fits
enjoy,
you.
That works for you.
Yeah,
for sure.
because I used to go by myself, and I downloaded all the apps to help me work on a specific part, and then I just realized I'm not good when I'm by myself. So then I started working out with a buddy, and then still I really wasn't digging it. And then somebody told me about doing CrossFit. And doing the group setting, I realized is what pushes me. Having and then a little bit more, I found out like when you start getting like metrics, and whether it's a heart rate monitor or Apple Watch or whatever it is, your smartwatch, and then you start to see the increases in the calories or whatever it is that you've done. I've learned, and now I'm hooked, and I won't work out any other way after that.
I'm the opposite of you. I would much rather put my headphones on and go hike by myself.
Yeah,
just like, it's way
but
better.
you found it out. You
Yeah.
can only say that because you
Right.
found it out.
Yep.
Well, it's different
Trial
for
and
every person. It's
Yep.
unique.
Right.
Is it just my gym? Do I keep hearing an advertisement? Real friends don't let their friends work out alone. I think I heard that like numerous times.
Well, that's a really good marketing tool.
Yeah,
because-
bring people. Yeah.
It's like, you know,
But exercise, do something. And again, if you say, Ron, I'm out of shape, I don't know if I can, try just some little, bite-sized chunks at 1st. You might say, I'm going to walk the mailbox and back today, or all this week, mailbox and back, and then I'll go twice that length of time the next week, and then I'll go further. And
I have a neighbor who he has a walker, and I always see him outside walking around. And I found out he was in a car wreck, and so he can't drive. And I was thinking, I felt so bad for him the other day because he's down the street, and I was like, I'm gonna stop and see if he wants to ride back to his house. But then I thought, no, it's probably better for him to walk because it's actually rebuilding those muscles and doing all those things. And even though I felt terrible for him, it was really good for him. And so, like, if you've had an injury, you can work around it. If you've had an issue, you can work around it and still do something, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it weird, Josh? We go to the gym and we work out, and then we go to the store afterwards and we drive round and round trying to get the parking place closest to the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you worked out hard enough, you're tired.
Yeah.
Well,
I worked out legs this morning, and I was not wanting to walk anywhere.
But you have to, in my mind, you got to do aerobics, some kind of aerobics,
Yeah.
and lift weights. You got to do both.
Yeah.
I've
That's a
seen
good
some
point.
people that just walk and run,
Yeah.
but they don't do any weight training, and they start looking just really not good.
I love that you
You
brought.
know,
Yeah,
you
I
got
love
to
that.
do both. You got to tone the muscle too.
I love that you brought that up because being intentional with your workouts really, really important. And what you're trying to do, a lot of people work out because they're trying to lose weight. Some people are trying to, be more mobile. But being intentional is important. And setting goals. I love that you said, like you walk to your mailbox one day and then you walk past your mailbox.
Yes.
That's why I love the Apple Watch for me. And I know you're different. Josh and Tom kind of mentioned it. I love seeing my metrics and how much further I can push myself when I'm working out, when I'm applying myself. But going back to the way that you work out, a lot of people go in the gym and we've been told, if you build muscle, you'll burn fat and you don't have to do cardio. But there's a difference between I forget the fat layer that's on top, and then they talk about visceral fat.
Yeah.
Yes.
And visceral fat is the thing that's killing us. It's the thing why Americans are having heart attacks and
What
strokes
makes it
and
hard
diabetes.
to bend over to tie your
Well,
shoes.
it's not necessarily all to do stomach fat because you do have an outside layer of stomach fat. I forget what that's called, but then you have the inside layer, which is like basically the fat surrounding your organs, which we talk about visceral fat. And you don't burn that visceral fat. One, we talked about diet last week. That's a big part of it. But the second part of it is adding, like he said, cardiovascular health along with having some kind of resistance training. And if you combine those two together, then that's when you start getting to the core of that visceral fat. And then if you take it a step further, and this is where a lot of people have been doing all these all body workouts, and they think that's really healthy. And that's a good place to start, but it is also not known to burn visceral fat. The thing that they talk about burning visceral fat the most is doing some kind of interval exercise where you're walking fast for a minute. For some, I'm using walking as an example because everybody can walk for the most part. But you're walking fast for 1 minute, and then you're taking as long as you can to recover. It doesn't even matter. They say 4 minute recovery, and then you're walking fast again. And they're saying
or running,
or running, right? But I'm just using walking. Like I said, a lot of people, depending on where you're at, that's where you start burning that visceral fat.
I'm trying to think of the term, and again, I'm having a bad day. My thoughts are not keeping up with me today. But you can go in the gym now. See, I do gym workouts a little differently. I take about 15 to 20 seconds rest between sets.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm older, I do 12 to 15 reps because I'm not trying to produce strength or size.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can really accomplish both of the things you want to accomplish. If you only take 20 seconds between sets, you got a high heart rate, and you're getting your workout in, plus you're getting your cardio in too. And so you can kind of do that, I think. And there's a name for it. What's it called? I'm trying to think of the name.
A HIIT workout is basically
supersets is where you do 2 without resting.
HIIT stands for high intensity interval training. And so high intensity interval training. And basically it's kind of the idea of that. But now they're saying a lot of people, the 20-second thing was like, do your sets and wait 20 seconds and rebuild. Now you're kind of doing both. Right. Now they're saying you actually gain more benefit by doing that doing that set, getting all your cardio out, and then taking as long as you can to recover. It doesn't matter if you get your heart rate back down, then repeat that process. And they said that's training your body to basically
well,
get
if you really want to burn
yeah.
fat, and again, these fads come and go. One thing's great today,
100%.
It's not tomorrow.
Yeah.
People want to come up with something new. But a way that I have really lost weight when I was younger is I would get on the elliptical or whatever, and it really works. And what you do is you go as hard and as fast as you can go for like 20, 30 seconds, and then you slow down and you walk for a minute. And then you go back and go as fast as hard as you can go and slow down and walk for a minute.
No, they say that's one of the best trainings
I
you
threw
can do.
weight off quickly when I did that.
And then again, for anybody who, like everybody I think responds differently, their body responds differently. Like I think ultimately at the end of the day, challenge yourself. Whatever it is you can do, because even thinking about it, like what would be an optimal time to work out whenever you can. Like get it in. If it's in the morning, get it in. If you can at night, whenever it is. But just like making it happen. My wife and I, we did the 75 hard last year, and you're supposed to do 2 workouts in the day.
Everybody was doing that.
It was miserable.
Yeah.
And so one's supposed to be an outdoor workout, one's supposed to be an indoor workout. And when you have just a long day and you've already done one workout and the other one's got to be whatever, but like it just the benefit of challenging yourself to do something that gets your blood going.
The problem with stuff like that, those challenges, when they're so heavy and they're so there's so much going on, you feel like you failed if you just miss a part of it. If you like don't do the entire thing. Right. That's how you feel, and then you don't do anything. For me, I'm just doing little things. Now I've learned, now that I'm in my 40s, I've learned that if I commit to a couple small things that I know I can do, and I accomplish those things, then you can always add to the commitment, right? Or take away more from your diet or whatever. So I just gave up bread for the new year. Like no bread.
This year or last year?
No bread this year.
I'm going to hold you to that.
This year, no
I'm going to
bread.
start swatting your hands.
Does that mean communion too? Or?
No communion.
That's unleavened is okay. I gave up leavened bread, okay?
Well, you notice that I'm in sweats a lot because sometimes I never know when I have a break in my day and I can run by the gym real quick. But again, different strokes for different folks. I need to work out first thing in the morning because if I don't, I run out of energy as the day goes on. And again, it's redundant, but I told somebody in the gym the other day, I saw Sherwin in there.
Yeah.
And I said, you want a game changer? I told my daughter this, and she did. I said, Dad's a game changer. And because I don't drink coffee very much, I pop a caffeine pill in the morning, 20 minutes before I go to the gym or 30. It's a game changer. I mean, I'll work out so hard. And again, talk to your doctor. I don't know if caffeine pills are good for everybody.
I'm gonna give a caveat on that bread thing. I gave it up until the race, so that's the
I'm gonna slap your hands all
February
year.
24th. So if you see me February 26th,
you know how you know you're getting older? It was like funny, and Tom, I don't know if you've dealt with, but like, because I would be like, I like going to the gym at night sometimes. I'm like, oh, I like to go like after work and be able to work out. And then I realized that I cannot sleep if I go to the gym at night now.
No.
It is the weirdest.
It's because you take pre-workout. That's
why.
why.
I do take a pre-workout.
That's exactly
there
why.
it is.
But no, but I'm like, I know, but I used to be able
That's
to go
what
to
everybody's
sleep.
doing, though. They're like, pre-workout,
But
Oh,
you
you
have
get
to
that
do what
pre-workout on.
fits you. You got to do what fits you.
I cannot go to sleep
Everybody's
at night.
different. And I have to get it out of the way because even if I try to say I'm going to work out at night, I'll get so involved in my day, things start consuming me, and I go, I just don't have time to go to the gym. In the morning, I just get it out of the way.
I'm a middayer. I'm better working out in midday if I can. So what I'll do, so I will get up in the morning and I'll start working. I'll start doing like studying or whatever it is that I have to do for the day. And then I will take kind of a long lunch break and I will work out and then take a shower, eat, and then I'm like good. That works for me.
Yeah.
My wife works out at 5 a.m.
See, I like that. I
can't. At 5 a.m, I'm just like, I'm not. I can't do anything. It's terrible.
Well, let's go to A in the air, and I think we covered that a lot last week. We talked about VOCs, EMFs. Again, I don't buy new cars because they off gas. You can see it all on the windshield on the inside for several months.
Pastor, what's that mean, off gas?
Well, these chemicals. See, when you get a brand new car, they have glues, they have PVC, they got plastics, they got carpets, and they have all this stuff in there. And so it's the chemicals coming off of these. And you can actually see it on your windshield.
So if somebody did buy a new car, what was your recommendation again? Roll the windows down?
I bought one, and a while back, it was several years ago, I let it sit in my garage for 3 months before I drove it. All the windows down, baking soda in there. I had machines in there sucking everything out. But there's a lot of car dealers now that pride themselves on not having VOCs. They're getting really. I know some of I think it's Japanese were kind of leading the way there, bragging that their cars don't have VOCs. But to me, it's just wisdom all the way around. When I buy a car, I always buy one year or two old with 10, 15,000 miles on it. It's just broken in. I save all kinds of money because the minute you drive a brand new car off the lot, you've just lost a whole bunch of money. So it's just a thing with me that I always look for used. Recreational vehicles, we were looking for a trailer some time ago, and Josh was with me. And I won't say the name brand, but went out and I walked in that thing and it smelled, oh my gosh, so bad with chemicals. You couldn't even breathe in there.
Wow.
I mean, probably from all the plastics
It's like
and the glues.
the new car smell. A lot of people love that
but
smell.
10 times worse.
Yeah. It's like,
and then another thing with the air you breathe, try. And again, I know this is tough to say, but I personally wouldn't live closer than half a mile from a freeway, especially in LA. LA, you do not want to be next to a freeway. Isn't it just common sense? All of those gas fumes of those cars day and night, they're coming over and you're breathing them. And so these are just little things about the air that you breathe. We don't want to go too much into it because we did cover EMFs, and it does make me very angry. When you Google about living close to a cell phone tower, and I'm telling you, this country especially, they're not going to buy into this fact that it can cause cancer. They're not. Okay, this week I spoke with someone. They have cancer, and it's pretty serious. They live right by the freeway. They live about 100 yards from a cell phone tower and some other things. And I'm going, duh. Mm-hmm. The air is not healthy around you. The atmosphere is not healthy. Now, it's funny because my wife was so sweet last night. We're staying in a condo in Vegas, and the EMFs are pretty much off the chart in this condo. We happen to be just, probably a quarter mile or less from a big power plant, huge. And you take an EMF meter, and it's surging. And so my wife last night came in and said, I've got something for you. I had ordered some time ago, and I forgot, a blanket that keeps the EMFs off of you. And so I threw it on me last night. And
one of the issues that we have in our country is large corporations will pay for, sponsor studies that basically give them the data that they need to say that their product is safe.
Right.
And that should be illegal. I mean, that should be completely
illegal.
Especially, I mean, there should be third parties doing those studies.
Yeah.
I mean, if our government wants to be effective in anything, like if that change were to happen, that would be so good for our country.
We're going to put some links on the end of the podcast today that's going to tell you about cell towers.
And I think people
EMFs.
are starting to wake up to the idea that that corporations are putting profit over safety. And I hope and pray that if there's anything that the next generation really does well, is that they fight the government on that stuff.
I mean, there are houses 20 foot away from the cell phone towers. They're putting them right there in the neighborhoods.
And how is that legal for the people living there?
They're letting them do it.
Yeah,
they're
that's
letting them do
crazy.
it. Really, honestly, probably if you live directly under one, that's probably the safest place because you're directly under it, is shooting it all out the other direction.
So Pastor, what can we do? I mean, I've heard of, in regards to like fumes, from vehicles or whatever,
Right.
I've heard the benefits of plants in the home to kind of, similar to how trees can take CO2, right, and turn it into, right? So what would you say that we can do? You talked about that blanket for the EMFs,
Right.
As far as sleeping.
Right.
What else can be done from your experience? What else, or Vince or Josh, what else can be done for something like that?
What you can look into, and I would study this out before I bought one, air purifiers, on and on.
Mm-hmm.
I was down in LA the other day, and it continues to blow me away because so much of this is common sense. Bunch of joggers. They look like upper middle class, real preppy people, jogging down beside the freeways and the main roads. And I'm going, do you know what you're breathing? Now, on the other hand, I was in the gym not too long ago, and people are coming in wearing masks because of COVID, I guess, and running as hard as they can on the treadmills. And I go, you're probably hurting yourself more doing that than you would be taking the chance of getting COVID. But I think with the air around us, we again, what did we say last week? Shoot for the moon and settle in between. Some of us are already living close to cell phone towers. And if you are, you can get paint. You can paint your house with. You can get blankets. There's things you can always do. As far as the gas fumes and all of that, the only thing I would know to do if you live real close to a freeway, and I don't think it's as bad here as it is in LA, and you lived at the coast, and you live pretty close to a freeway, but all that damp air really, I think, worked to your advantage, and the wind was always blowing the other direction. So you do the best you can do.
Oh, plus during the day, I was breathing much better air than I am now.
Yes,
because
yeah. Well, we
we're
got
in this
really
valley.
bad air.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So moving on, anything you want to say about the air, the EMFs, anything about, and again, I believe I have enough personal proof in the last 50 years that people that are living close to these things, I know about. I could probably use 5 personal illustrations. They're getting cancer, some of them. But again, as I said last week, and I'll stress it again, sometimes these results come years down the road. They don't come right away. So if you've been living next somewhere for 2 or 3 years, you still have time probably to get out, move further away.
And it's easy to say this now, but one of the worst things you can do is just stress about everything else. Because
that could be worse. That
make
could
it
be worse.
So make the best decisions you can with what you've got, and then don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't stress.
The T in death, I use the word tension.
Sorry.
What?
Every time you say the T in death, like I said, don't stress, and then you're like the T in death.
This is to prevent,
To
dying
prevent
too early death.
Yeah.
But I couldn't think of a word for stress, so I used the word tension. And, stress decreases the mitochondria in your body. What is mitochondria? Mitochondria is an organelle found in your cells that generates chemical energy needed to power your cells' biochemical reactions. That's a lot of words. But basically, mitochondria supplies your cells with everything they need to help your immune system. And they're saying that if you are stressful for, say, 2 or 3 hours, within those 2 hours that you're battling this stress, it destroys mitochondria like I don't know how big of a quantity.
Right.
You're destroying your mitochondria.
Yeah.
Your mitochondria is needed to have a good, healthy immune system.
They also talk about cortisol. The stress produces cortisol, and that cortisol also messes with your ability cardiovascular, your ability to metabolize, the things that you're eating, and just a bunch of other stuff. So
yeah, it's not good.
So, something that happened with me when my daughter was born is I started feeling a pain in my chest. And in my mind, I wasn't worried, I wasn't concerned or whatever, but I thought I was having like a heart attack or some heart issues or whatever. Long story short, I go to the doctor and he asks me to describe what's happening. I said, well, doctor, my heart is, and he goes, stop, you don't know that it's your heart. Describe what's going on. And so then as I described to him, he said, I think it's stress. I don't think it's your heart. I'll hook you up to an EKG, prove to you that it's not your heart, but that it's just stress. And I'm like, I don't feel stressed. I'm not. But he said, your body is carrying stress. Mm-hmm. You might not mentally know that you have it, but your body is carrying it. So that's just something too, because I've always kind of pride myself on not being too stressed out. But my body, your body can carry it.
Also, so acting like you're stressed out, right? Or not acting like you're stressed out. Doesn't really have it. It's not correlated completely with how stressed you are. For example, my wife has always thought that I had no anxiety. Like I was very even keel. Like I don't react a lot. I'm just chill. Like if something crazy happens, I'm like really slow. That's just my mind is just slow to react to stuff. But I'm very stressed a lot.
Right.
And I internalize it, and it does affects you.
You use the word picture of a stove. When you have the heat on full blast, that's when you can feel the stress. But you turn it way down. You barely know it's on. Something's simmering. Yeah. Sometimes you don't feel the stress.
Yeah.
You have to be really, really careful.
Yeah, and that also goes back to, Hannah, like I love what you said, because Hannah's like, like sometimes like when the kids get sick, she's like, you get stressed out really fast, but I'm not stressed. I'm just a problem solver. So it's like I'm trying to solve a problem that's very practical to me, and it's a way that I do manage my stress through problem solving. So it's like I might seem wired up, but I'm actually problem solving, and I'm like actually
and you're taking care of your stress.
I'm taking that stress and putting it towards something positive, and that's
Well, you know what? Real quickly, let's talk about some practical things. My wife says sometimes when you teach your health classes, you tell everybody what you can't do. But how do we decrease our stress? Exercise.
Yeah.
Control your thinking, the foods you eat. I notice when I'm going through something very stressful, that's when I want to really limit my intake of caffeine because it makes it worse. Sleep. It's so important. Your body rejuvenates itself when you sleep.
That's good.
If you want to be healthy, you have to get good sleep. Yep. And so there's a lot of things you can do. I don't know what you guys want to add to that.
Real quick, I will give you a tip. Some people know this already, and it might be obvious, but some people don't. There's a setting on your phone. You can put it on night mode, and it takes the blue light out of your phone, which affects your ability to start feeling sleepy at night. So it's kind of that's kind of a cool little thing you can do at night. I always forget about it. What is it?
Mine's got a black background.
Oh, yeah.
I watch something that makes me laugh. I have a whole bunch of little saved videos that make me laugh, and if I'm ever feeling stressed, I go right to that thing on Instagram.
Is it the same videos?
It's the same ones.
They'll make you laugh every time?
I have so many of them that I'll either scroll to the bottom.
Library.
Oh, dude, just a huge library because, I'll be stressed out, and I'm like, I need to laugh.
You're like, that one cat video does it every time.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's funny.
I love that you could watch the same thing. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, punchlines.
Yeah.
So good.
Every time.
Every time.
What was the
daughter
guy
singing Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Laughter, it really does. It really does help you with your stress a lot. My wife and I laugh a lot. Twice yesterday, she walked in. I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "You're just so funny what you said. I can't believe you said that." And she was just laughing. That happens all the time.
And that's a miracle after 50 years, no longer. How long have you guys been married?
54, 53. I don't remember now.
That's a feat, though.
Yeah.
Your wife still thinks you're funny.
Oh, my wife,
after that
she
many
tells
years.
me often, and people don't see me in the church this way. She says, "You're one of the funniest people I know." And I will say things, I'm not trying to be funny. I'll say something. She says, "Just what you just told on yourself. That is so funny."
Oh, man.
And so, Josh, honestly, we have the best marriage we've ever had in our life by a long shot. The last 2 years.
Well, there's a rarity in that, in staying together with somebody. So I think it relates to health. Really, I think relationships do, because it's accountability, but it's also the ability to just grow old with somebody and to get through all of those different ups and downs. Is just. It's good for your soul, man.
Well, you know what?
Really is.
Again, I say last 2, it didn't last 10, 15 years, not 2 or 3. But, and the H stands for habits. We've got to break some habits. I changed the way I feel a lot about 8 years ago. And I know you guys can't do it, you have kids. But when I start going to bed at 8:30 or 9 every night and get up at 5 every morning. And again, sleep is so important. Here's some hints for sleep. If you have your house warm, you won't sleep. We turn it down really cold at night. And then resveratrol, that really helps me in my sleep. Make sure the room's dark and on and on. So you replenish energy and you repair your cells, your tissues, and your muscles. Everything repairs when you sleep. You need to have deep, good sleep.
Also reading instead of TV, which I'm terrible with, but
yes.
If you read a book, it's much more apt to put you to sleep.
I mean, let's just throw health out there because we only have about 5 more minutes. And we can be through with this and come back to something entirely different next week. But anything else you guys want to add about health? You need to drink, 8 to 10, 12 glasses. Well, not 10 or 12, but at least 8 glasses of water a day. All these are just little simple things that you must get in the habit doing. And again, my wife... We were going to Vegas this week, and I get so hungry. When I get really, really hungry, I haven't eaten anything at all today. I will eat McDonald's, I'll eat whatever. But what does she do? What do you want? I get some trail mix. I got a peanut butter sandwich on whole wheat bread. I got this or this or this. It's habits. And I'll eat that peanut butter sandwich, and I'm good for another 2 hours. I got some protein in here. You want some protein?
I was also thinking about this, that when you are eating foods that are nutritious, you don't have to eat as much. I think that's one of the problems too, is when we eat like fast food and stuff, we overeat, and that is a problem. That hurts our digestion, a lot of things. It also is more expensive, to eat that much food. And so,
well, Josh, what
not that you're going to save money by buying wholer foods, but at least that can help balance it out a little bit. You can eat less. I'm just glad that with technology you can now just have like a library of cat videos and just laugh.
Yeah. So maybe to closely end this, what would you guys say your motivation for being healthy would be?
Yeah, I'll start. I think a lot of it just comes down to just like wanting more out of life, like just wanting to be able to be there for my kids more, and not just longer per se, but being able to be active with them. Like Huntington and I, we took up hunting together this last year. It's his first year. And so I want to be able to go walk 20 miles into the woods with him and not worry about dying over on the side of the hill and he's going to pack me out, Like I want to keep up for that. My daughter's going to start her freshman year and she wants to swim. And so I've been taking her to the gym, and she's like, and so I want to be part of that with them. And so,
plus, you got to be able to wrestle off those little boys that are, coming around.
I already told her I'll drag them straight to the field. I just don't even care. But that's a whole nother subject. I will drag. I said if I ever. Anyways, don't get me heated up right now.
I don't want the pain of having to go through treatments for illness and everything. Mm-hmm. I want to die naturally. I want to age naturally. Yeah. I've been through this more than some of you. I have to go to the cancer wards twice a year, and I see the people going through chemotherapy, going through radiation, and all of this stuff. I just want to live a life free of pain. I want to live a long life, and I want to be able to do what I want to do even as I'm older.
Yeah, I think too, like in the health part of it, it's like when you are physically healthier, when you're eating better foods, when you're exercising, you're doing all these things, you are spiritually healthier because you're able to see things clear. I think when you're in a healthier mindset. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because I know for myself, like when I eat bad, and I don't eat terrible. You would think I eat bad all the time, and it's crazy. But anyways, when I do eat bad, like if I eat bad food and I do it for a week, I do not feel great that week about myself. I don't feel great about the things that I did. I know for you, Pastor, if you eat pie all week, that kind of throws you off.
What is it?
If you eat pie all week, like you're not.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the week, you're gonna feel bad about it. And so I know, like, I want to feel good about where I'm
my
at.
wife says to me continually, I'll see a cookie and I'm going to eat it. She says, you will be so mad at yourself. And I will be. I eat it, then I'm really mad at myself.
Just want to encourage you guys, whoever's listening, just to find that motivation.
Yes.
Whatever it is.
And I think we're going to come back with a different subject next week, but we will still answer your questions. If you send any questions or comments, we will answer them next week. And I think we probably will go on to another subject because we talked about health on a podcast a year ago. And then go back and listen to that one. Might be a lot of redundant stuff. But take care of yourself, man.
And a simple thing, too, is if you are healthy today, be thankful and appreciate that.
Yes.
And do something. Go outside and exercise that health, right?
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
And pray before you go shopping. Pray. Say, God, lead and guide me as I shop today. And so we love you. And next week we'll be on to something else. But please send us in questions or comments. You can reach me, Pastor Ron, through Facebook. My email is Pastor Ron at V as in Victor, B as in boy, F as in Frank.org. And you can reach Vince or Josh or Tom Hollenbeck and give us your questions. So love you. And anything else you want to end with?
That's it, guys. We appreciate you.
God bless.
All right. See you guys. Bye.
Your mama's sunshine. You got your daddy